Welcome back. Good to see the interest. And I'm happy that you are practicing few of the programs. If you're not practicing, I suggest you to practice. You feel that you're comfortable in Python, it's well and good to go ahead with machine learning workshop because machine learning is coded using Python predominantly. MATLAB and R programming are the other alternatives what we have, but Python is the major role player in coding of machine learning experiments. Plenty of the examples what you get in internet, plenty of the samples what you get are all coded using Python. That is the importance of Python. The next concept what we will be discussing here is about the exception handling. Exception handling. You need to understand what is exception handling, and then we'll go ahead what is this exception handling is all about. Well, I'll add a code segment on this. Previous video, when we are writing functions, you have seen that a name error got generated, where I am trying to use anything. Yeah, anything was a variable name. When I was trying to use something, not something, it's anything. Anything which was not declared, but there was an error. Now let's simulate that error once again. So I'm trying to print a variable, let me say A, which is not used anywhere so far in this code. I'm trying to print. Let us see what happens. There's a name error. This is the error what we have seen earlier. It's not defined. That's what it says. So if I want, now you have seen that if I have some statement after this, print, we had a variable called x. Now that statement will not get executed. Whereas if I have x over here and a over here, oh, x is also not defined. Oh, correct. It is long back. We have it is p dot x. It is p dot x. P dot x is something which is existing. You can see that the value 5 is getting printed because p dot x is a value which is existing, whereas a is a value which is not existing. Now, if this was a first statement, and if I say p dot x over here, will that printing of 5 happens? No. No. That means whenever an exception occurs, program will not continue, it will stop, execution stops. Sometimes we don't want that to happen. We don't want that to happen. So what should we do? That is what the concept of exception handling. Some of you may be familiar. So we have a try block and post tab. So we added try, do something whatever you can, then the keyword except. There can be something. I'm not keeping anything right now over there in the except block. Oh, let us have some print statement. Print, let me say that except block. I'm inside the except block. Then I'm trying to print p dot x, which is a valid variable. Let me try to exit. Oh yeah, now you can see that there's an output. Value 5 is getting printed, and also the except block is getting printed. There's no error, there's no exception, and program will not terminate. Program continued its execution, and p.x got printed. That's the exception handling. Those who already know exception handling, there's nothing new syntax as such. It's a try and except. Try and except are the two keywords. Whatever the block of statement which may generate an exception, that need to be kept under the try block. The solution, the alternate, that is if there is an exception, what has to be done? That block has to be kept under the except block. Okay. Then the statement which is after the except block, this statement will get executed anyway. Either the try block executes or the except block executes, this statement gets executed. Now let me add the variable a is equal to 10. Now let us see what happens. Now the output what we are expecting is 10 and 5. Yes, that is statement inside try block got executed, then except block is not executed and it comes to this line. Whereas if I have not declared, if I had not declared A, then, oh yeah, once it was declared, always it will be existing. Let us use another variable P over there. Okay. Now you can see the except block is getting executed. Now you can see except block is being executed means this it comes to this part of the code statement. So that is the simple concept of exception handling. There is one more addition to that, keywords called as else and finally. Else and finally. So the finally statement is used for the place where it has to be executed, either the exception occurs or not. Let me replace this code with another part of the code, something like this. Now you can see the output. It goes to the except statement and the finally statement is also getting executed, irrespective of whether it is present or not. Now p1.x is present. So I'm expecting the value 5 getting printed, but finally statement is always getting printed. That is the significance of a finally statement. There is something called as else. Let us see that. Instead of finally, I can type else. Let us see what happens now. Okay, the try except part is finished. That's what it says. Now, if I use this, let us see what happens. Something went wrong. That means it came inside the except block. It came inside the except block. So that is what, if try statement is executed, then it comes to the except block. Try except is finished and this statement gets executed and it continues the code. Whereas if the try state, if the except statement is executed, if this statement is executed, it won't come to else. It will come to the else block, but the program continues. Program continues as suppose if I write like this. Now we are expecting 5 getting printed at the end. That is the output that we are getting. That means if except statement is executed, else will not get executed. Something like if else, that is if except, do it, else do this. The opposite of this is the finally where any case the statements has to get executed. That is finally. Okay, that's about exception handling in Python, useful in many cases where when we are trying to read from a file, the file is not existing or the data is not in the range or so. Again, here I am leaving something for you to explore further, which is how to create your own exception. There is a keyword raise, raising an exception. That means you, and the previous cases what we have seen is all about the existing exceptions gets removed, like name error is the one what we did with. Similarly, if I am trying to read a file, if the file is not existing, that is also an IO error. Uh, I'm leaving with you a question that can I raise my own exception? We, those who studied Java and see Java, there's an option where you can generate your own exception with the keyword throw. You can generate an exception throw, throws. These are the keywords what we know anyway. So here also there is a provision where you can generate your exception with the keyword raise. I'll leave that as an assignment for you to find out how to use raise in a programming language. I suggest you to use W3 School's website. Also, tutorial point is also fine. Any other tutorial what you find comfortable, go through that and find out how to generate your own exception. Thank you. See you in the next session.